Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. It's our Israelite Advanced Bible Study night, the 21st of November, 2023. Okay, we'll be reading out of the Book of Zechariah for our topic for discussion. Okay, you can go to our YouTube channel to Prophets of Awakening and check out our videos. We have some like 700 or so videos with a lot of information that connect a lot of dots for anyone that's searching for the truth in the Holy Scriptures. If you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Okay, and for those that want to subscribe to the channel or support the channel, you can go down to our Cash App at the bottom of the screen. Okay, and then I'll try to make it a habit to let everybody know about our nights that we are live, and that's on Tuesday nights we have advanced Bible study from 8 to 10 Central Time. On Wednesday nights we do a lot of reading through the Tanakh, and it's from 8 to 10 Central Time on Wednesday nights. Thursday nights we have Women's Advanced Bible Study night, and that's 8 to 10 Central Time. Friday nights on Clubhouse, in our Clubhouse room, non-Messianic conversations. We have our Men's Advanced Bible Study at 8 to 10 Central Time. And then we come back on Saturdays, and we have a morning Shabbat class from 10 to 12. And then we close out the Shabbat for an hour or so from 6 to 7 on Saturday evenings. Okay, so with that being said, I want to let everybody know that this is a non-Messianic channel. And by that I mean we deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh being the Old Testament, the so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah, which is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by the Lord of Hosts. Shalom and welcome to the channel, and welcome to our advanced Bible study. Okay, we're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence. We're going to do a prayer, read the Psalms, then we have some current events, some need-to-know information. Then we open it up for some Q&A, and then we go into our topic, which is we'll be reading out of the Book of Zechariah. We're breaking that down. Then we'll close out. Okay? So with that being said, this moment of silence is for the Lord of Hosts and all that He's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Oh Lord, I pray unto the Lord my God. We make our confessions, O Lord, the great and dreadful God, keeping covenant and mercy to them that love thee and to them that keep thy commandments. O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us a confusion of face as it is this day, to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and unto all Israel that are near and that are far off, through all the countries whither thou hast driven us, because of our trespass, that we have trespassed against thee. As it is written in the laws of Moses, all this evil is come upon us in the land of our captivity, here in the Americas and the Caribbeans, Great Britain, and Africa. O Lord, according to all thy righteousness, I beseech thee, that thy anger and thy fury be turned away from thy city, Jerusalem, and thy people, and thy holy mountain. O Lord, hear this prayer, cause thy face to shine upon thy sanctuary and thy people for your sake. O Lord, open thine eyes and incline thy ears to hear, and behold our petition. O Lord, hear. O Lord, forgive. O Lord, hearken and do, and defer not, for thy own sake, O my Lord, for thy people in your land need you desperately at this hour. Peace be unto you. Okay? So with that being said, I'm going to read the Psalms. Okay? Okay? I'll read Psalm 9. It's a praise for God's justice. Psalm of David. I will praise thee, O Lord, with my whole heart. I will show forth all thy marvelous works. I will be glad and rejoice in thee, and I will sing praises to thy name, O thou most high. When mine enemies are turned back, they shall fall and praise at thy presence. For thou hast maintained my right and my cause, and thou sattest in the throne judging right. Thou hast rebuked the heathen, and thou hast destroyed the wicked. Thou hast put out their name forever and ever. O thou enemy, destruction are come to a perpetual end, and thou hast destroyed cities. The memorial is perished with them. But the Lord shall endure forever. He hath prepared his throne for judgment, and he shall judge the world in righteousness. He shall minister judgment to the people in uprightness. The Lord is also will be a refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in time of trouble. And they that know thy name will put their trust in thee. For thou, Lord, hast not forsaken them that seek thee. Sing praises to the Lord, which dwelleth in Zion. Declare among the people his doings. When he maketh inquisition for blood, he remembereth them. He forgetteth not the cry of the humble. Have mercy upon me, O Lord. Consider that my trouble, which I suffer of them that hate me. Thou that lifteth me up from the gates of death, that I may show forth all thy praise in the gates of the daughter of Zion, and I rejoice in thy salvation. The heathens are sunken down in the pit that they made in the net, which they hid in their own foot take. The Lord is known by the judgments which he executes. The wicked is snared in the works of his own hands. Haggadah, Selah, the works shall be turned into hell, and all the nations they forgot God. For the needy shall not always be forgotten. The expectation of the poor shall not perish forever. Arise, O Lord, and let thy man prevail. Let the heathen be judged in thy sight. Put them in fear, O Lord, that the nations may know themselves to be but men. Selah. So that was Psalm 9, okay? And like I said, the name of it is the praise or praise for y'all's justice. Okay. Anybody comments on that? Okay, so with that being said, we go to some current events.
Since the 7th of October, when more than 1,200 people were killed in an attack by Hamas on Israel, the world has borne witness to the devastating killing of thousands of innocent people in Gaza, many of whom are women and children. Over 11,000 residents of Gaza have been killed. Many thousands more have been injured. Infrastructure such as hospitals, roads, homes, and other public facilities have been destroyed. We are told that more than half of Gaza's population has been displaced. Our thoughts and prayers are with all those who have been affected by this violence in Israel, Gaza, and the West Bank. The actions by Israel are in clear violation of international law, including the UN Charter and the Geneva Convention. In its attacks on civilians by taking hostages, Hamas has also violated international law and must be held accountable for these actions. The collective punishment of Palestinian civilians through the unlawful use of force by Israel is a war crime. The deliberate denial of medicine, fuel, food, and water to the residents of Gaza is tantamount to genocide. The atrocities that we have witnessed are the latest chapter in a painful history of suffering, oppression, occupation, and conflict going back more than 75 years. The root cause of all this conflict is the illegal occupation of Palestine territory by Israel as reflected in the UN Security Council Resolution 2334, which states that Israeli settlements constitute a flagrant violation under international law. We therefore urge the international community to agree on urgent and concrete actions to end the suffering in Gaza and to establish a path towards a just and peaceful resolution in this conflict. As South Africa, we call for, first, an immediate and comprehensive ceasefire. Second, the opening of humanitarian corridors so that aid and other basic services such as food and medicines can reach those in need. Third, all countries to exercise restraint and to refrain from fueling this conflict and making it worse, including by seizing the supply of weapons to the parties. Fourth, that those who are being held as hostages, civilians, should be released. Fifth, the resumption of a comprehensive dialogue led and owned by Palestinians and Israelis themselves and facilitated by the United Nations. Sixth, the deployment of the UN Rapid Deployment Force in Palestine with a mandate to monitor the cessation of hostilities. And lastly, the International Criminal Court should urgently initiate investigations against those who have perpetrated war crimes. As South Africans, we appreciate the importance and value of international solidarity, and as an important voice of the Global South, representing a large portion of humanity, we believe that BRICS has a vital role and a voice in a widespread international effort to achieve a just and lasting peace. As individual countries, we have demonstrated our concern at the death and destruction that's taking place right now in Gaza. Let this meeting stand as a clarion call for us to combine our efforts and to strengthen our actions to bring this historical injustice to an end.
Okay, so that was South African president again, warning Israel to a ceasefire or else. Anybody got any comments on that? Okay. And this is China and Saudi Arabia put sanctions on
in a world characterized by
on Israel. Okay.
with countries often wielding their oil production and export, political tensions and economic interdependencies, energy resources have always played a pivotal role in shaping international relations. Among these, oil has been a central player, with countries often wielding their oil production and export capabilities as tools of foreign policy. Two major players in the global oil market, China and Saudi Arabia, have made headlines recently with a decision that could have far-reaching consequences. They have jointly announced sanctions on Israel, cutting off their oil supplies. This decision marks a significant departure from conventional international diplomacy and has the potential to reshape the global energy landscape, impact economies, and ignite geopolitical tensions. In this essay, we will delve into the motivations behind this extraordinary move, its potential consequences, and the broader implications for the global order. To understand the gravity of this situation, it is essential to grasp the dynamics at play within the China-Saudi Arabia-Israel triangle. China, the world's largest oil importer, and Saudi Arabia, a key oil producer and exporter, have long maintained a strategic partnership centered on oil trade. On the other hand, Israel, a small but technologically advanced nation in the Middle East, has been a subject of contention and conflict with its Arab neighbors, including Saudi Arabia, for decades. The China-Saudi Arabia-Israel triangle is a complex web of relationships shaped by geopolitics, energy, and historical tensions. China and Saudi Arabia's decision to sanction Israel stems from their shared geopolitical interests. Both nations have sought to increase their influence in the Middle East and assert their roles as major global players. By taking a stance against Israel, they aim to appease the Arab world, which has long been critical of Israel's policies towards Palestinians. This move aligns with their broader strategy to gain political and economic leverage in the region. Saudi Arabia, as the guardian of Islam's holiest sites and a key player in the Arab world, is highly sensitive to issues concerning Palestinians. By sanctioning Israel, Saudi Arabia aims to bolster its image as a protector of Arab interests and garner support from its Arab allies in the region. This move could also serve to distract from internal issues and consolidate domestic support. China's growing influence in the Middle East has been driven by its insatiable appetite for energy resources and its ambitious Belt and Road Initiative, BRI. The BRI involves massive infrastructure projects across Asia, Africa, and Europe, and the Middle East plays a crucial role in this initiative. By aligning with Saudi Arabia and taking a stance against Israel, China can solidify its presence in the region and ensure the security of its energy supply routes. The immediate consequence of China and Saudi Arabia's decision to sanction Israel is the disruption of the global oil market. Saudi Arabia is one of the world's largest oil exporters, and China is the largest oil importer. This sanctions-induced oil embargo could lead to a spike in oil prices, affecting economies worldwide. Countries heavily reliant on Saudi oil, including the United States and Europe, would face energy shortages and price hikes, potentially leading to inflation and economic instability. The Middle East is already a region plagued by instability and conflict. The sanctions on Israel could exacerbate tensions in the area, leading to a potential escalation of hostilities. Israel, feeling isolated and under threat, may respond militarily, potentially drawing in other regional actors. Such a scenario could further destabilize an already volatile region, with consequences reaching far beyond the Middle East. The sanctions also underscore the vulnerabilities of countries heavily dependent on oil. As the world is increasingly moving towards renewable and sustainable energy sources to combat climate change, reliance on fossil fuels becomes a strategic liability. This situation may serve as a wake-up call for countries to accelerate their transition to cleaner energy alternatives, reducing their dependence on oil-produced fuels. This could accelerate the transition to renewable energy and the development of domestic energy sources. The global community will face significant diplomatic challenges in managing the fallout from these sanctions. Diplomatic efforts will be needed to de-escalate tensions in the Middle East, address the energy needs of affected nations, and navigate the complex web of relationships in the region. Furthermore, the China-Saudi Arabia-Israel sanctions raise important questions about the role of international institutions and mechanisms in resolving conflicts and managing global crises. The United Nations, in particular, faces a significant test in its ability to mediate and find diplomatic solutions to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, given the involvement of major players like China and Saudi Arabia. The United States, traditionally a staunch ally of Israel, now finds itself in a delicate diplomatic position. It must balance its commitment to Israel's security with the need to maintain productive relationships with China and Saudi Arabia, both of which are critical to its economic and geopolitical interests. Navigating this diplomatic tightrope will require deft diplomacy and strategic decision-making. For Israel, the sanctions serve as a stark reminder of its vulnerability in the international arena. While it has enjoyed strong support from the United States, these sanctions reveal the limits of its diplomatic leverage, particularly when faced with the combined economic weight of China and Saudi Arabia. Israel may need to reconsider its approach to regional conflicts and seek more inclusive and negotiated solutions to its long-standing disputes. On the flip side,
Okay. Any comments to that? China and Saudi Arabia put sanctions on Israel. Say no more oil. Okay. Everybody good on that?
Yes, shalom, everyone. Wasn't isn't Saudi in the United States of the West was close, so now they're um, turning away from the United States? Are they still with the United States, but yet holding with
No,
China to?
they didn't turn it away. Their actions showing that they siding with they're going more toward BRICS and towards China and all that, which is a lot of countries doing that. Especially with this what just happened with going on with Hamas and with Gaza, they went with it. Those Arab countries.
Yeah. So they want to make sure that they're Muslim and their I guess their religion stays strong and let them know that they're for them more or less for the West.
Right. But it's when you look at that situation, go back, like I was saying, when the Israelites came out of Egypt, everybody, everybody, you can't dispute that. All those people, all those different nations in that region remember that when they came out of Egypt, and they knew that they wasn't white, and so now today when they set up this, like Ben Laden was saying in his letter, they set up this wicked nation that they know not Israel, and it's causing all these problems not only in the Middle East but in the whole world. And they've been had issues with it, but they wasn't really no position to do anything about it. But the tide returned. And now they taking a stand on what they always had a problem with all along. They know that those people are important.
So by them sanctioning Israel, they think that this Palestinian Israelite problem would go away by them putting sanctions on Israel.
Well, they're trying to bring about a ceasefire.
Okay. Just a minute. And yes, sir.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
I have one more question. Yes. So China again is in the middle. Like they are out for, to me, they out for the commercial stuff. They out for the oil and things that they can get. So again, if they're helping Saudi sanction Israel, they're probably getting their hands into what Saudi has and combining them, like they said, with the oil, like they're doing with Africa, helping them out, being a key player, and as far as with their finances, giving up money to help them. So now they're with Saudi helping them with the sanction on Israel because they know about Saudi's um, oil that they have. Am I correct on that or not?
Right. So Saudis is you got to go back to the dollar. When they made the deal, when Saudi Arabia was the one that was a player in when Nixon made it petrodollar. That's what brought the dollar to its prominence. And now China wants to bring the dollar down because they want to be the number one ruling power. So they align it with everybody in order to what they call de-dollarization. They're trying to bring the dollar down. and the dollar is propped up off of the oil that's in Saudi Arabia, predominantly Saudi Arabia, the petrodollar. So they're trying to undermine that, bring it down. And this situation with Gaza and Hamas and Israel is just another way for them to do it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Anybody else? Yeah. So I was talking about how when you understand who Esau is and his role in the end times, we know that he wanted to rule the world for 1,000 years from Jerusalem. That's his objective. And so a lot of people not privy to what's really going on with that situation and how much of a role that Esau is playing in these end times. They got most people thinking that through Christianity and propaganda that Israel was destroyed a long time ago, but that's a lie. So I was telling you about the strength of the Israeli army. They call it IDF, the Israeli Defense Force. When you play this video, it kind of tells you a little bit about the military might that they have.
Most battle-hardened militaries, surrounded by enemies on all sides, whose soldiers are tasked with one mission: never lose a war. But the Israeli Defense Force has a hard-won reputation for pulling off improbable victories with unconventional tactics, and is now leading the fight into Gaza in an effort to wipe out Hamas. Forced to fight 5 major conflicts in its first 4 decades of existence, it secured one improbable win after another, including the Yom Kippur War, the Six-Day War, and, most importantly, the War of Independence, during which it was fought. The Israel-Palestine conflict has led to untold suffering over these decades of conflict, but the IDF has emerged as one of the world's best armies. Bristling with high-tech, homemade weapons like the Iron Dome and Merkava tank, which allow it to hold off attacks and strike back with overwhelming force. They were among the first to develop combat drones, have already deployed AI on the battlefield, and are now on the cusp of producing laser cannons. They have blasted a missile out of the edge of space, are responsible for one of the world's best spy networks, and were among the first militaries to allow women to fight on the front line. This is the story of how the IDF came to be, the weapons, the tech, and the tactics that made its name, and why it looks set to remain one of the absolute best for years to come. The IDF has a reputation for doing things differently. While most armies are underpinned by strict hierarchy, formal discipline, and long-standing traditions, the Israeli army is not, a lot of which has to do with its history. Formed by David Ben-Gurion, the father of Israel, in the midst of the 1948 War of Independence, the IDF was originally made up of separate Jewish militias, thrown together under one banner and forced to fight for their very survival from day one. Against all the odds, the IDF managed not only to defeat the 7 Arab armies that invaded Israel on the day of its birth, but pushed them back beyond what were intended to be the country's original borders. For the Palestinians, this was the beginning of the Nakba, the disaster in English, which saw hundreds of thousands displaced from their homes into refugee camps where their descendants live to this day.
So that's what they're saying right here. That's what Bin Laden is saying, that when they created the nation of Israel at the UN, when they created it, started all this oppression and people being evicted from their land and all that because of a false reality. They're not the Israelites, and that's what everybody over there in that region already know that. They got a problem with it, but because when they came there, the UN and America backed them. The strongest military power in the world was backing them, so they didn't really do nothing with it. So now, like I said, it's the tides are turning.
For the IDF, this victory was the cornerstone of their fearsome reputation and established a deep-seated culture of doing what works over doing things by the book, which persists to this day. Take, for example, the development of the Merkava tank, widely regarded as one of the world's best, which was delivered by Israel's fledgling defense industry on time, under budget, and in the middle of a recession. The brain behind it was Israel Tal, better known as Talik, a former commander and hero of the Six-Day War, which Israel fought against Egypt, Syria, and Jordan in 1967. In the wake of that conflict, both France and Britain, which until then had been supplying Israel with heavy armor, began to restrict the supply, convincing Israel it needed to produce its own. The tank that Talik designed prioritized crew safety above everything else. He realized, correctly, that the hardest part of the vehicle to replace were the men inside, who took months to recruit and train and years to perfect in the art of tank warfare. Working alongside other tank commanders to identify the biggest problems they faced in battle, his design included innovations like moving the engine to the front of the vehicle. This meant when the tank was hit head-on by a shell, the most common way they were attacked back then, the engine shielded the crew from the blast. It made the tank more vulnerable to being disabled on the battlefield, but it ensured the men inside lived to fight another day. Freeing up space at the back also meant it could be fitted with a rear hatch, allowing the crew to escape if it was disabled, and creating room for it to carry extra men, protecting soldiers going into battle and casualties coming back out again. Talik also insisted on a low, long gun turret, which made the Merkava hard to see at range and perfect for long-distance sniping, a tactic he developed to keep his men out of harm's way for as long as possible. Now, on its fifth iteration, the Merkava has evolved according to the principles that Talik and the IDF laid down: self-reliance, utility, and safety driven by problems identified in battle. Take, for example, the distinctive ball and chain defenses which hang off the back of the turret and were developed to stop rockets hitting a weak spot that was identified between the turret and the hull. To hit ground targets in the 1990s. Today, drones are Israel's largest weapon export, overtaking missile technology in 2022 off the back of the Ukraine war and earning billions of dollars in revenue. In total, Israel's weapon exports earned it $12.5 billion in 2022 alone, much of which is pumped back into research and development to ensure the IDF maintains a technological edge over its foes. The next leap forward is likely to come straight out of science fiction, as Raphael is preparing to deploy the next iteration of the Iron Dome, dubbed Iron Beam. This uses lasers instead of rockets to shoot down incoming missiles, making the system much cheaper to run. Some estimates suggest it will cost around $2 per intercept instead of the current $20,000. Meanwhile, another futuristic development is the Smash 2000 rifle sight, essentially a targeting computer that mounts on top of a rifle. Soldiers look through the box sight, which identifies and outlines possible targets, before locking onto one of them with the push of a button. The sight then calculates the distance to target and movement before providing a second outline that the soldier should fire at in order to hit it. Sharpshooter, the company which makes the sight, says this is particularly useful for taking down drones like the FPVs which have been terrorizing infantry and tanks in Ukraine.
Okay, any comments on that? So as you can see, they got all like I said, they're the number one weapons armor in the world. They sell all the weapons, all the latest technology when it comes to armory and all that come out of Israel. Okay. So with that being said, I'm gonna open it up for some Q&A. Anybody have any questions or comments about anything they want to talk about before we go into the Zechariah?
Shalom. Is Israel trying to make their state as a Jewish state? You know, they want it to be a Jewish state. They want it to be like, I know, but they want it to be named as that. I mean, you know, in the paperwork, I will say, you know, there is a lot of you know, numerous Jews there, but they wanted to be known as the Jew state.
Yeah, yeah, when it was in its conception, it was the Jewish state. They 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 they've taken on Israel's identity, saying that they the Jews, they the Israelites. From their conception, they've been saying that.
Yeah, yeah, I think ever since 1987,
No, 1948.
1948.
Yeah, they came here, and the UN made them a nation, made them a Jewish state in 1948 to the UN with America's backing.
Oh, okay, yes, I got those the dates mixed up because the Palestinians was uprising against Israel occupying the West Bank of Gaza Strip during that time. That's when they lost the credibility of the Palestinians. Palestine, yes. Okay, thank you.
All right. Anybody else got anything before we start reading out of Zechariah? Play this video right quick, then we'll go on to that. Okay.
Follow the U.S.'s narrative on the Israel-Hamas war. But will India stand against its friend China? The U.S. is only gathering nations together to make the Israel-Hamas war a world war. It is adding more and more nations into the conflict to make the problem bigger. Blinken recently visited India, and the experts suggest he is on a mission to make India stand against China. But does India have the guts to do it, knowing what impact this can have? How will India deal with the local protests after Blinken's visit? Let's find out. Welcome back to another exciting episode of our channel. Innovation Diary brings you China's innovation stories, projects, and growing influence in different parts of the world. If you are new to the channel and enjoy learning about fast-paced modernity, especially China's development and growing power, you will find our videos intriguing. In this video, we will discuss why the US wants India to have the same narrative on the Israel-Hamas war that the US does. We will also talk about the impact of having this narrative. Watch the video until the end to know if this is the US's last move to make this war a world war. Let's get started. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken's visit to New Delhi holds profound significance as the visit took place against shifting geopolitical landscapes, regional power dynamics, and global conflicts. The primary objectives of this visit are twofold: to bolster India's role as a regional counterweight to China, and to seek India's support for the U.S. position on the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas. Central to these discussions are the annual 2+2 talks. Blinken is joined by U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, engaging with their Indian counterparts, Foreign Minister Subrahmanyam Jaishankar, and Defense Minister Rajnath Singh. India's strategic importance in the Indo-Pacific region has grown significantly, and the United States views it as a crucial ally in countering China's expanding influence. The Quad Alliance, comprising the US, India, Australia, and Japan, positions itself as a united front against China's assertiveness in the Asia-Pacific. The 2+2 talks provide a platform to deepen defense and security cooperation, reinforcing India's standing as a regional power. In recent years, India's strategic importance in the Indo-Pacific region has experienced a remarkable surge. The United States, recognizing India as a crucial ally, has sought to strengthen ties to counterbalance China's expanding influence. However, the complex dynamics of global geopolitics highlight that India's influence cannot surpass China. The United States has increasingly leaned on India as a key player in its efforts to counter China's growing dominance in the Indo-Pacific. The shared democratic values, economic potential, and military capabilities make India an attractive partner for the United States in maintaining stability and ensuring a rules-based order in the region. The Indo-US strategic partnership has seen significant developments, including defense agreements, joint military exercises, and increased diplomatic cooperation. Despite the strategic alignment between India and the United States, it is essential to acknowledge India's subtle approach to diplomatic relations, particularly with China. While the US views India as a tool to curb China's influence, India maintains a careful balance to avoid alienating its powerful neighbor. The historical and cultural ties between China and India run deep, and India is mindful not to become overly entangled in the geopolitical rivalry between the US and China. Recognizing that India's influence alone cannot outweigh China's vast economic and military capabilities in global politics is crucial. The United States may leverage India strategically, but India's ability to shape global affairs independently remains constrained. This reality necessitates a cautious approach to navigating diplomatic waters for India, avoiding overcommitment to any alliance. India treads carefully in challenging areas where China has strong objections. This cautious approach stems from a desire to avoid direct conflict and a pragmatic understanding of the geopolitical consequences that may arise from a head-on collision with China. Has led to a considerable reduction in visible demonstrations in support of Palestine. India's shift in stance towards Israel has not gone unnoticed internationally or domestically. Leaders and communities in Muslim-majority nations, as well as within India's Muslim population, have expressed criticism and concern over the government's alignment with Israel. The change in India's position from traditionally supporting the Palestinians to siding with Israel has sparked debates about the implications for diplomatic relations and internal harmony. Media coverage of the protests, crackdowns, and rallies has brought attention to the diverse opinions within India on the Israel-Palestine issue. Reports from various sources provide insights into the complex web of sentiments, with perspectives ranging from emotional support for Palestine to backing Israel's actions.
Okay. So if you look at that, you can see that they trying to instigate, like the guy said, they trying to instigate. They want a world war. They losing in every other area when it comes to China, BRICS, and all that. So they trying to instigate a war. And the quickest way to instigate a war is they knew go right there where the hotbed was at, Israel and Hamas. Another place to go if you want to start a war is Ukraine. Both of those areas are hotbeds. Esau know that. So, and then the Christian, the Arab, and it's Muslim and the Israeli conflict. They could jump off a war just like that. And that's what they're doing. Now they're trying to add fuel to the fire, expand it. They want an all-out war, World War III. Okay, that's how they make their money. Any comments? Tear everything up, then come back and rebuild it. Big money in that. And then they get to put everything where they wanted it after they tear it up. Okay, so with that being said, we're going to go into our topic, which is be reading out of the Book of Zechariah. Read a couple chapters. Probably be on it for about an hour, a little over an hour. So I'm going to read from the historical settings first, because that's important when you read these books. You have to understand when did all this happen, what's the setting. Okay, so it says various scholars have estimated that Zechariah began his ministry sometime between 520 and 508 BC, comparing Zechariah with Haggai. And 10 reveals that Zechariah's first message was delivered between Haggai's second and third message and came 2 months after Haggai began his ministry. The message of Zechariah came between 2 and 3 years later, chapters 9 and 14, and undated but include material indicating that Zechariah's prophetic activity may well have extended into the mid-5th century BC. The tone of the prophecy is one of encouragement, and it was given to the people who were discouraged, and it cures that discouragement by focusing their attention on the glory of God. Zechariah had primary and secondary purposes in delivering his prophecy. The primary purpose was to encourage the people to continue to rebuild the temple and to see that task through to its completion. Its secondary purpose, which served as a motivation behind the primary purpose, as to announce God's prophetic program as it concerned the Gentiles, to predict the blessings of the millennial age for Israel, and to outline the events leading up to it. So notice right here it tells you that a lot of his prophecy was to encourage the people, to get them more, to strengthen them because of what had happened to them in Babylon. So it's this about Daniel 9:25. When the Israelites came back, they had to rebuild the temple. It's like just like the verse says, they're gonna come back and build the streets of Jerusalem up and the wall. So Zechariah is prophesying and living during that time period, concerning that he's a player in that whole scenario. Him and Haggai, they came back with Zerubbabel from Babylon. Okay, any comments before I start reading?
No, sir.
Okay, so I'm in Zechariah chapter 1, verse 1. In the 8th month, in the second year of Darius, came the word of the Lord unto Zechariah, the son of Berechiah, the son of Iddo, the prophet, saying. So let's look at that right quick. In the 8th month, in the second year of Darius, right? So they give you the timeline. Well, you go to Daniel, you'll see how close that is. So I'm in Daniel, and it says, chapter 9, right? It says, in the first year of Darius, the son of Aorus, of the seeds of the Medes, which was made king over the realm of the Chaldeans, in the first year of his reign. So Daniel prophecy in Daniel 9:25 was in the first year of Darius, and Zechariah right here tells you in the 8th month, in the second year of Darius. See how, and even a year in between the two of them. See that? So it says, came the word of the Lord to Zechariah, Zechariah, son of Berechiah, the son of Iddo the prophet, saying, the Lord hath been sorely displeased with your fathers. Therefore say thou unto them, thus saith the Lord of hosts, turn ye unto me, saith the Lord of hosts, and I will turn unto you, saith the Lord of hosts. Be ye not as your fathers, unto whom the former prophets have cried, saying, thus saith the Lord of hosts, turn ye now from your evil ways and from your evil doings, but they did not hear, nor hearken unto me, said the Lord. Your fathers, where are they? And the prophets, do they live forever? So we can apply that to this, to what I've been telling you too. Where our fathers at? People that these prophets is talking to, where they at? They ain't around. So it says 6. But my words and my statutes, which I command my servants, the prophets, did they not take hold of your fathers? And they returned and said, like as the Lord of hosts thought to do unto us, according to our ways and according to our doings, so have he dealt with us. Upon the 4th and 20th day of the 11th month, which is in the month of Siba, in the second year of Darius, came the word of the Lord unto Zechariah, the son of Berechiah, the son of Iddo the prophet, saying, I saw by night, and behold, a man riding upon a red horse. So notice this right here. This is the 4 horsemen. It's way back here. See that? 8. I saw by night, behold, a man riding upon a red horse, and he stood among the myrtle bushes, trees that were in the bottom, and behind him were their red horses, speckled and white. Then said I, O my Lord, what are these? And the angel that talked with me said unto me, I will show thee what these be. And the man that stood among the myrtle trees answered and said, these are they whom the Lord hath sent to walk to and fro through the earth. And they answered the angel of the Lord that stood among the myrtle trees and said, we have walked to and fro through the earth, and behold, all the earth sitteth still and is at rest. Then the angel of the Lord answered and said, O Lord of hosts, how long wilt thou not have mercy on Jerusalem and on the cities of Judah, and against which thou hast had indignation these 70 years. 70 years. This is the time the captivity in Babylon. 13. And the Lord answered the angel that talked with me, with good words and comfortable words. So let's look at this right quick. So if you go right quick to Zechariah chapter 4, verse 10 says, who have despised the day of small things, for they shall rejoice and see the plummet in the hands of Zerubbabel with those seven. They are the eyes of the Lord, which run to and fro in the whole earth. So we know that these seven right here, and nobody deals with this. In chapter 10, Zechariah 4 and 10, these seven angels that Enoch tells us about. But I want to show you them in operation. So if you go back to Zechariah 1, what I just read, then you'll see verse 8 says, Zechariah says, I saw by night, and behold, a man riding upon a red horse, and he stood among the myrtle trees that were in the bottom, and behind him were their red horses, speckled and white. Then said I, O my Lord, see that? Not the Lord of hosts, talking to one of these other angels. Then said I, O my Lord, see, lowercase Lord, what are these? And the angel that talked with me said unto me, I will show thee what these be. And then it says, and the man that stood among the myrtle trees, this is an angel. The man that stood among the myrtle trees answered and said, these are they whom the Lord have sent. See that? Go back to Zechariah 4 and 10. These are they who the Lord have sent to walk to and fro through the earth. See that? That's these angels. 11. And they answered the angel of the Lord. There's more than they there. They communicate. It says, and they answered the angel of the Lord that stood among the myrtle trees and said, we have walked to and fro. See that? That's them. To and fro through the earth, and behold, all the earth sitteth still and at rest. Then look at this, 12. And the angel of the Lord answered and said, O Lord of hosts. So these other angels there and he there. They're addressing the Lord of hosts. It says, O Lord of hosts, how long, and Zechariah there. So it says, and said, O Lord of hosts, how long wilt thou have mercy upon Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, against which thou hast indignation, these 70 years? And the Lord answered the angel. See that? The Lord, we know it's the Lord of hosts, answered the angel. You're talking to one of these other angels that talked with me, Zechariah. These angels, Lord of hosts there, and Zechariah, with good words and comfortable words. So the angel that communed with me, one of those six, said unto me, cry thou, saying, thus said the Lord of hosts, I am jealous for Jerusalem and for Zion with great jealousy, and I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease. For I was but a little displeased, and they help forward the affliction. So let's look at it. So we see it right here in them in operation. So if you go to a place I always go all the time, you'll see it again. Genesis 18. Genesis 18, verse 1. Verse 1, Genesis 18. And the Lord appeared unto me in the plains of Mamre, and he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day. And I lifted up my eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men. See that? It's 3 of them right here. And over there we see they are in operation. We see in Book of Enoch, 4 of them looked down from heaven and saw the drama that was going on earth. He said, let us go down. In Genesis 1:26, they said, let us make man in our image. So there ain't no Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. So they said, let us go down to the Tower of Babel. They said, let us go down and see what man is doing on earth. That's them. And then one more place. Now I'm going to go back to Zechariah. Daniel again. You can see, like I said, if you go to Daniel chapter 8, right quick. Okay, Daniel chapter 8, it says, Uh, Daniel chapter 8, verse 1. In the third year of the reign of Belshazzar, a vision appeared unto me, even unto me, Daniel. After that, which appeared unto me at first. Until here you go. I saw in a vision, and it came to pass when I saw that I was at Shushan in the palace, which is in the province of Elam, and I saw in a vision, and that was by the river Ulai. See that? I was in a vision by the river. So from verse 8 all the way to 12, same situation. Let's look at it. Let's go to 12. You'll see what I'm talking about. So you go to 12 and you pick it up and start reading. Daniel 12 and 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even at that same time, and at that time our people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, some to shame and everlasting contempt, and they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars of heaven forever and ever. And here we go. 4. But thou, O Daniel, Daniel hit it now. We was reading over there, Zechariah standing there, and those angels are there. So it says, but thou, O Daniel, shut up the words, seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, knowledge shall be increased. Then I, Daniel, look at this. I, Daniel, looked, and behold, there stood the other two, one on this side of the bank of the river and one on the other side of the bank of the river. That's the same river. Same continuing story. The three is three there in Daniel chapter 8 with the ram and the eagle. Got Michael standing on the water, Gabriel on one bank, and Uriel on the other bank. Same right here. Same story, going all the way from 8 all the way to Daniel chapter 12. Then it says, verse 5, 12 and 5. Then I, Daniel, looked, and behold, there stood the other two. He already talking to the Lord of hosts. The other two, the one on this side of the bank of the river, and the other on that side of the bank of the river. And one said to the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, how long shall the end of these wonders be? And I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters. He's standing in the middle of the water on the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swore by him that liveth forever, by Yahweh, that it shall be for a time, and when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. And I heard, but I understood not. Then said I, O my Lord, what shall be the end of these things? So we see right here, these angels in operation. So it's no different than in Zechariah. Let me go back there. Show you what I'm talking about. So I'm in Zechariah, and I started reading. I'm in verse 8, Zechariah 1 and 8. And I saw by night, and behold, a man riding. See that? Same, dealing with the same angels, just a different prophet. Zechariah right here, Daniel dealing with him by the river, and Abraham was dealing with him by the oak of Mamre. And Zechariah right here says, I saw by night. In verse 8, Zechariah 1 and 8, I saw by night, behold, a man riding upon a horse, and he said, and he stood among the myrtle trees that were in the bottom. And so we see the same thing. They're dealing with these same angels, 7 angels. The ones that running, the ones that's doing all the bidding. 2 of them was there in the beginning. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read chapters 2 and 3, and then I'm gonna close it out. So he says, I lifted up mine eyes again, and I looked, and behold, I lifted up my eyes again, and I looked, and behold, a man with a measuring line in his hand. Then said I, whither goest thou? This is an angel. And he said unto me, to measure Jerusalem, and to see what is the breadth thereof, and what is the length thereof. And behold, the angel, see that talked with me, went forth, And that's two right there, went out to meet him and said unto him, Run, speak to this young man, saying, Jerusalem shall be inhabited as towns without walls for a multitude of men and cattle therein. That's part of Daniel 9:25. They in Babylon. For I said, the Lord will be unto her a wall of fire round about, and will be a glory in the midst of her. Ho, 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 come forth, flee from the land of the north, says the Lord. For I have spread you abroad as the four winds of heaven, says the Lord. So let's look at it right here, like I was saying. It's not talking about today. People keep saying Russia, the people from the north, but they in Babylon. See that? Verse 4, chapter 2, verse 4. And he said unto him, to the angel, Run, speak to this young man, Zechariah. Speak to Zechariah, right? Get it. Yeah, run, speak to this young man, Zechariah, saying, Jerusalem shall be inhabited as towns without walls, for the multitude of men and cattle therein. For I said, the Lord, will be unto her a wall of fire round about, and I will be a glory in the midst of her. This is when they come out of Babylon. 6, ho, 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 come forth and flee from the land of the north. Flee from Babylon, because he's going to destroy it. Cyrus coming. See that? You can't apply that to today. Some country in the north today. So he says, come forth and flee from the land of the north, says the Lord. For I have spread you abroad as the four winds of heaven, says the Lord. Deliver thyself, O Zion, that dwelleth in the daughter of Babylon. See that? They're in Babylon. For thus says the Lord of hosts, after the glory have I sent me unto the nations which spoiled you. For he that touches you touches the apple of my eye. For behold, I will shake mine hand upon them, and they shall be spoiled to their servants. And ye shall know that the Lord of hosts have sent me. So when he say he shake his hand, Cyrus, he's going to use Cyrus, just like he used Nebuchadnezzar. 10, sing and rejoice, O daughter of Zion, for lo, I come, and I will dwell in the midst of thee, says the Lord. Same thing getting ready to happen. And many nations shall be joined to the Lord in that day, and shall be my people, and I will dwell in the midst of thee, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord of hosts, have sent me unto thee. And the Lord shall inherit Judah, his portion in the Holy Land, and shall choose Jerusalem again. Be silent, O all flesh, before the Lord, for he is raised up out of his holy habitation. So he's raised up because 70 years is up. He's going to redeem his people from Babylon. He's going to use Cyrus. Okay, any comments on chapter 2? I'm going to read one more chapter. And he showed me. Somebody got something?
No, sir, I was just saying no questions right now.
Okay. Okay, so chapter 3, this Joshua's vindication says, he showed me Joshua, the high priest, standing before the angel of the Lord, and Satan standing at his right hand to resist him. And the Lord said unto Satan, the Lord rebuke thee, O Satan, even the Lord that hath chosen Jerusalem rebuke thee. Is not this the brand plucked out of the fire? Now Joshua was clothed with a filthy garment and stood before the angel. And he answered and spake unto those that stood before him, as these other angels, take away the filthy garment from him. And unto him he said, behold, I have caused thy iniquity, thy sin, to pass from thee, and I will clothe thee with a change of raiment. And I said, let them set a fair mitre upon his head. So they set a fair mitre upon his head, and clothed him with a garment. And the angel of the Lord stood by. And the angel of the Lord protested unto Joshua, saying, thus said the Lord of hosts, if thou wilt walk in my ways, and if thou wilt keep my charge, then thou shalt also judge my house, and shalt also keep my charge, keep my courts, and I will give thee places to walk among these that stand by. Hear now, Joshua, the high priest, thou and thy fellows that set before thee, for they are me and wonder there. For behold, I will bring forth my servant, the branch. This branch right here is Zerubbabel. They tell you in Christianity is Jesus. But this branch, he said, I will bring forth my servant, the branch, Zerubbabel. Because he got a covenant with David. But he always gonna raise up a branch out of David's lineage. So they getting ready. Zechariah came back with Zerubbabel. So let's look at it right quick. Haggai came back with him too. So let's look at it right quick. So we in Zechariah. Let's go to Haggai chapter 1, verse 1. Haggai. Both of them came back with Zerubbabel. It says, in the second year of Darius, there you go again. It puts Haggai, Zechariah, and Daniel all there at the same time. In the second year of Darius, the king, in the 6th month, in the first day of the month, came the word of the Lord. See that? By Haggai the prophet unto Zerubbabel. That's the branch that he's going to raise up. See that? That's the branch that he's talking about in Zechariah 3 and verse 8. Hear now, Joshua the high priest, thou and thy fellows that set before thee, for they are men wonder there. For behold, I will bring forth my servant, the branch, Zerubbabel. For behold, the stone that I have laid before Joshua, upon one stone shall be 7 eyes. And behold, I will engrave the engravings thereof, says the Lord of hosts, and I will remove the iniquity of the land in one day. And in that day, said the Lord of hosts, shall ye call every man his neighbor under the vine and under the fig tree. So he's going to return them back to the land of Israel, is what he's saying. Because they vine and their fig trees in Jerusalem, in their land. There's been allotted to each one of them. Okay? So, anybody got any comments or questions? No comments or questions? Okay. So,
No.
so I had to cut it short. Everybody good?
No. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so I'll see everybody tomorrow at 8 o'clock for our reading through the Tanakh. Okay. Okay, I'll say shalom. Shalom. I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Shalom, shalom, everyone.
Shalom, everyone.